Thank you.
Hey, friends. So my friends that are going to have a seat, feel free to have a seat. I'm calling Stephanie to the mic. So Stephanie of Chroma Detroit is going to tell you a little bit more about Chroma Detroit. I see my FJC friends are in the house. If you're on FJC board, give a wave. Hey, perfect. So if you saw any of those waves and you know that you are interested in meeting more of those people and attending those type of events, just say hello. So we'll hear from Stephanie of Chroma Detroit, and then we'll hear from Dexter, who's the president of FJC, and then we'll talk to Sydney. So can't even wait. So thank you so much for being here, and here's Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie of Chroma. Hi, baby. How are you? Oh, sorry. That's so loud.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. I'm the manager of hospitality and events here at Chroma. Just want to take a few moments to say thank you all so much for being here this afternoon, well, this evening. Who knows what time it is anymore these days. And a big thank you, Amina, for bringing this beautiful talk, and for Sydney for your time for this afternoon or for this evening. We're really excited to hear what you all have to say. Just wanted to take a few moments and just share a little bit about Chroma. This is our first floor community space, which we've been activating since June this summer, and just kind of slowed down for the fall and really looking into community programming and activations for the winter, spring, summer, and all next year. And then we also have a beautiful ninth floor event space in which we have a catering partner that we do all of those bookings for all of our larger corporate, social, weddings, things of that nature. So if you're interested in any of that, I'd be happy to share a little bit more information. My cards are at the front desk along with our basic rate sheets. And then we also have 2 floors of co-working on the 2nd and 3rd, and then we're also developing on the 5th and the 6th floor that we're hoping to be ready by this summer. So we are currently full on our private offices, but we do have hot desk memberships available. So if you're looking for a place to hang, want to get away from your office or your home office, a family, need a place to just reprieve, please come check us out. We do offer free day pass, the first day trial day, and then we do offer drop-in. So if that's something you're interested in, pick up our community managers, Audrey or Allison's cards up at the front desk. So yeah, again, thank you all so much for being here, and a huge thank you to Urge Juice and Ciroc Vodka for providing the libations for this evening. And yeah, I'll hand the mic back over to the beautiful Amina. Thank you all.
Thank you, Stephanie. Those co-working offices are pretty incredible. They have great light. It's really good energy. So even if you need a hot desk, it's really good for the hot desk. So now we're going to hear from FJC's president, Dexter, and then we get to chat it up with Sydney.
Thank you. I'll be very, very brief. Happy Friday, TGIF. First thing, Stephanie, your space this is beautiful. So my first time in here, definitely excited to come here more in the future. I have a confession to make really quickly. I'm a Ciroc boy, so I was very excited to find out that Ciroc's been one of the main sponsors. So ever since college, I've been a big Ciroc boy, and I've never had the passion, but it's a very good flavor. So want to add that in there. But for those who don't know me, my name is Dexter Mason. I am the president of the Founders Juniors Council, FJC. Once again, I know Amina is on our board as well, but also other board members, can you just raise your hand really quickly? You're part of FJC.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming, your support. And so we are a young professionals auxiliary group for the Detroit Institute of Arts. Even though this is not an FJC or a DIA event, we're so proud to support both Amina, who's our membership chair for FJC, along with great, amazing, talented leaders and artists of all kinds like Sydney James, and using the power of art to bring community and people together. So once again, we're really excited. If you all want to know more about FJC, please find one of our board members, find myself, and also follow us on Instagram at FJC Detroit. But I'm excited for this evening. Amina, thank you for hosting. Sydney, thank you for being you.
Thank you.
And you all have a good night. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I've been told I don't have to use this mic, although I love to hear myself on the mic, but I guess you'll be able to hear me on the wireless mic.
No, that's just for the recording.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for getting me together. And I think I lost my wireless mic. Oh, it's behind me.
Yes, it's behind.
Okay. So thank you again for being here. Ken is giving me the side of like, girl, you use this wireless mic all the time. Why are you acting brand new? Without further ado, we are here with the international muralist, visual artist, shoe designer, artist, creator of the D earrings, Sydney.
No, I did not create the deering, and I'm glad you said that. So I would like to take a moment to actually, not a moment of silence, but to really give honor to the actual creator of this D earring. Her name was Yolanda Curry. She passed away last Tuesday, November 1st. She lost her battle with cancer. She was 45 years old. And just to give you a story about my relationship with this earring, she actually gave it to me as a birthday present for my 40th birthday in 2019. I've never been a fan of the color pink. Even when she gave them to me, I was like, oh, I don't even like pink. But I swear to God, I wear these earrings every single day to the point where I even painted it on an 8,000 square foot building. So just, just give her honor. She was a beautiful soul, a beautiful person. She was a creative and a mother, a daughter, she was love. Like her gift really gifted the city. Like it encouraged this gift. So, yes.
Well, let's talk about the mural that they're featured in. How did that mural come about?
So it's interesting. Back in 2020, we all know, not that open season on Black people ever takes a break, but in 2020, it was definitely running rampant. So we had Ahmaud Arbery, Tony McDade, Breonna Taylor, and then George Floyd, right? So after the George Floyd incident, I took to social media about a mural that I was going to repaint. I was going to repaint a Malice Green mural. I had a building to paint it on. Somebody had posted a Malice Green story, because, I don't know, some people might be young. If you're not familiar with Malice Green, he was murdered in either 92 or 91. I can't remember. It was because I was young myself. At the time of the murder, artist Benny White Jr. painted a mural at the murder scene, like Malice's blood was still in the street on the west side. And so he painted Malice Green, a portrait of Malice Green on the party store, like where the murder happened. And in the article, it talked about the case, it talked about how we got a conviction, it talked about the mural, and then it made mention that the mural was destroyed. So that really hurt my heart because, of course, in this time, it's not that we need those type of monuments, but it's always nice to have a reminder that we did win once, right? And we need to win now, right? So I took to social media, hey guys, I think I want to paint a Malice Green mural. Like, would you support this? The support was outrageous, really. Like, next day, I put up a design, I put up a GoFundMe, and I raised $10,000 to paint the mural in less than 3 hours, like an hour and a half, something crazy. I didn't accept any money for myself. So me and my team, we got it up. It was really not just about Malice Green. I painted him as a statue, and he's holding like a scroll that contains the name of over 1,000, as many names as we could put up there. It's in Highland Park. It's right on Hamilton, just north of Davison. But anyway, fast forward to the night that we were honoring that mural, it happened to be Juneteenth, 2020. I got a call from Peter Cummings, who is the owner of this building, or would he be considered the owner, CEO or whatever? Whatever it means to be the top. He calls me, and he tells me, he asked me if I wanted to paint this wall. Interestingly enough, it's kind of odd me telling this story because he tells it with such grace and confidence all the time. Like, they were going to go in a different direction for the wall, but after George Floyd, they thought they should do something different. So it's kind of cringy, right? Because it shouldn't take the public lynching of anybody to do what you supposed to do in a black ass city anyway. But that's, but that is the story. Those are his words that he said, shares, because, that is what it is, because that is his reality. That is their reality. We made a decision. We go, but it wasn't the right decision. We gonna make the right decision now. So they called me. I provided 2 designs, and the girl with the D-earring is the one I think was the right decision to choose, because it wasn't, either way it goes, Halima Cassels is gonna get painted. Let that be clear. Because she's a North Ender, she's a Detroiter, we grew up together. She's an artivist, an activist, a community staple, a foodivist, everything. So it's her face that graced the wall, but the D earring is about the culture of Detroit. It's vibrant. It's huge. Everybody knows this Old English D means Detroit. Nobody thinks of Dallas. Like nobody thinks, you know what I'm saying? It is Detroit. It embodies Detroit. So it was, and then the building is called Chroma. So I added the color. And it was just perfect. And then of course you see the garment, it's adorned by patches that of businesses that no longer reside here. Either the buildings are gone, the families are gone, and then some are new businesses, like Underground Resistance, the Techno Museum is right across the street. So it really, it's a simple composition, but it says a lot.
That leads us to a lot of your murals say a lot. So what's the process of going about selecting a muse and how that muse is the person at the center of your work?
Well, honestly, it's really, I have an idea. I don't really think of like the person first. I think of my idea, and then I think, okay, who could really represent this idea? Who could really give this what this idea deserves? Like, for instance, when I painted you in Eastern Market, Desiree Vincent had approached me and Askew, who's a New Zealand artist, to collaborate for a mural for their Our Issue campaign, which addresses domestic violence, and really opens up the conversation, not like trying to teach women how not to be raped, but let's open this conversation to everybody, because it's an everybody conversation, right? So that's what they're, so I'm like, okay. My idea was, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking like, how do I come across this? And I always go to things that are common first, like a common composition, like something that's already recognizable, like the girl with the pearl earring, or even my first murals in the market mural, I used the Death Row Vibe magazine cover composition. So with this one, I'm thinking, what can I do? I was like, oh shit, speak none, hear, what is it? Like, speak no evil, hear no evil. But that's the problem, right? We need to see that shit. We need to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? We need to acknowledge that we heard something. And so that's why I was like, okay, I need 3 people, but a man definitely has to be in the center. And that's when I, the perfect muse for that. I think that might be my favorite painting I ever did of a man, for real, for real.
Well, you don't really paint men.
No, and not after, also open season on black women, yes. But now I paint everybody.
But before,
Yes,
let's
like-
talk about why black women are normally at the center of your work.
Because, Malcolm X said it best. We're the doormats of this
Well,
country.
you got to say what Malcolm X said. We are the most unprotected person in America.
Really in the world, but yes, in this country specifically. And that was prevalent around, the Sandra Bland time. And because it wasn't just Sandra Bland, it was, of course, a lot of men getting murdered by police and protesting the males' deaths and all of that stuff. But it was very, like, when we get to women, it's very quiet. It's like a whisper. Like, oh, Sandra Bland died, right? Such and such. But then I saw a video of a young lady at a pool party. She was 14 years old down in Texas, getting her ass beat by a cop because somebody called the police on kids trying to go, I don't know, cool off in the summertime, right? He grabbed her braids, like he put his knee in her back. And I watched that video like midnight. like right before I went to bed. And even like at the warning of my partner, like, hey, don't watch that right now. Watch that tomorrow. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna look at it. And I couldn't sleep. And I woke up the next day like, I'm not gonna paint men no more. I'm just gonna paint, I'm gonna paint black women as large, as beautiful, as big as I can. Because at first it didn't start beautiful. I started this series where I actually painted myself nude and I put it on the ground. I painted myself as a literal doormat to kind of trying to test and see, like, how would people interact with this piece in a gallery. So the first time I did it was at Cass Cafe, and then the second time was at the Red Bull House of Art, RIP to the Red Bull House of Art, because, you know, it's no longer with us. But
We can talk about that too, but
yeah, so, yeah, and it was so disruptive to my soul, seeing people actually walk on me and walk on my piece, that I stopped doing it the destructive way. Like, because I don't need to paint us how I think or how I see or feel people treat us. I need to paint us how I feel about us. And so that's what I started doing. I started, and the girl with the earring is the largest representation of that, but literally all over the world, like she said, from here to Ghana, Sierra Leone, Nepal, I paint black women.
can we talk about what happened to your mural in Wynwood? And how that made you feel, speaking of black women being disrespected?
So this is not public knowledge. It will be, and well, it is now, because I wasn't trying to make these assholes famous. So 2 days after I completed a mural that I was flown down to, I got flued out to paint a mural down in Miami last year doing
305.
Basel. And
No city
literally
girls.
2 days after I completed, and I hand paint too. I use spray paint, but I also use brush, right? That's my main shit. 2 days in this cesspool of just,
She's not a fan of Art Basel like I am.
no,
That's too
because
many
it's like,
people.
all right, throw up now. It's not the same. It's just different. 2 days, 2 different assailants, and now what I found out 3, because somebody just recently sent me a picture too. Like, destroyed my shit. They even covered up my name. They even are on video doing it. Like, they had an audience. That's how you know it wasn't real graffiti people. Because now people just go to the store, they'll buy a can. They was spray painting windows. They were just going over everything and they destroyed it. And I just thought to myself, like, damn, like, I've been painting how I paint outside because, and let's be real, like, unless you go to a Cass or a Renaissance, or any kind of choice school, you're not getting a field trip to the DIA. You're not getting a field trip to any galleries or anything. And so once I saw the impact that me being outside and my work had outside, and I learned that from Murals in the Market, you know, started 2015, I'm like, oh, I liked it. I mean, I like the money too, but I also love the impacts even more because now kids of all sorts can see, oh, this is a thing, because I didn't even know it was a thing until I started doing it. So I did it to like, not to, just in case you're not gonna go to maybe to encourage somebody to go into a gallery, maybe to encourage somebody to go to the DIA. But even if it doesn't, you still get DIA quality stuff up and down the street, up and down wherever black art resides, right? But then when that happened, I was furious. It wasn't even just anger. It was, is there a safe space for the black female body? Like, even if it's pretend, like, is there a safe space? I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna repaint my murals that don't exist and I'm gonna go to a museum. Crazy thing happened. I literally said that. And 2 weeks later, I got nominated to apply to a residency in New York, which gives me a show at MoCAD next April, I got the, you know. So things happen how they're supposed to, but also, why do we always have to fucking work from a place of resilience? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying that that invitation wouldn't have happened minus that, because that invitation was coming, but what drove the idea for the work was still some fuck shit. Like, I'm tired.
Can we talk about that residency in New York?
Oh, man.
Take a drink.
Ask me specific questions.
How long was it? And tell me, I know personally, so tell me what you'd like to tell me. I got to see Sydney while she was at her residency in New York. And you know, everybody doesn't love New York.
I love visiting. I love visiting. Here's the thing about New York and New
Space.
Yorkers, right? New Yorkers always think, and the people who take that dive into New York always think that that's what everybody wants. That's not true. Okay, like it's expensive. Like my stipend was limited, so it paid for exactly my rent and a few meals. But the average money that you're gonna spend in New York is $100 per day.
Yeah, it's $100 per day just to leave the house.
Just to fucking wake up and breathe.
It's like, oh my God, $100 evaporate.
It's dirty. You pass. I don't care if you're a billionaire. As soon as you live amongst rats.
All right, tell us about the residency and the work that you created while you were in the city of New York. Well, actually, she was not even in New York. You were in Bushwick, which is
That's Brooklyn.
on the outskirts of Brooklyn.
No. Bushwick is absolutely Brooklyn.
It is a portion of Brooklyn.
It's still Brooklyn and it's rats all over that motherfucker. I walked all over it.
The art.
It's rats in Manhattan. I don't care if you're in Chelsea. I don't care if you're in Clinton Hill. I don't care. You're amongst rats. Are you out of your mind? Like,
Tell us about the art.
so the residency was interesting because I don't do residencies often. This might be my outside of the Red Bull House of Art residency, which was of course local. I get to go home. You have 24-hour access, but I didn't live there. So this is my first time living and have like a live work type situation. I had to find my own housing, but they offered me a studio. Upon entering, I felt like I was back at art school, which was very, very, very white. And as much stuff as I've done here, and or in my career period, I don't know. Art spaces have a way of of the microaggressions and making you feel small. I don't like that. You know what I mean? The people always want to put you in a place of like gratitude, like, cause I'm here and this dirty motherfucker. I'm sober too, y'all. This is a bad. I don't know. It was a lot of that happening. But I did enjoy the work that came out of it because initially I thought I was going to go and just recreate my murals that no longer exist anymore, whether it was vandalism, although that's the first one of this kind, or it was just a job that was temporary to begin with. So I thought I would just go there and repaint those, but evolve them. And I'm a quick painter too, but I don't think I completed one painting in that whole 3 months because it was so much social things, and it gave me time to really sit down and really live and breathe with the work, which is something that I never do. I've never have done because I went to school with Anton, who's sitting over there. I was a commercial artist, that's my background, illustration. So it's about deadlines and getting it done. So even for my art shows and stuff, I get it done. Even this wall that's 8,000 square feet, we finished this bad boy, started, finished, completed, 5.5 days. I was not playing games. Like, we get it done. But there, I literally got to sit and live with the work. So I kind of let it guide me. So I think once the show happens, and it'll be April 2023 at MoCAD, you'll kind of see the evolution of my work. I don't want to give too many, teasers, but yeah.
Can you tell me about your time as an art director? I see my art director friend here, who's also an artist.
Oh, I'm gonna keep this short. Hated it. Okay.
How long, did you move to LA to be an art
No,
director?
I was art director here.
Okay.
Yeah, I only did that from 21 to 25.
And does
22 to 25.
any of your work ever lead back to your time as an art director?
Well, not my work per se, but my art practice. But I can even say my art practice kind of even leads back to Cass Tech Art Department. Like my systems and processes have not really changed. Thought, notes, draw, do it. And that's really what I've been, what I've been working with for 30 years.
Can you tell me about your time in Los Angeles and what you did there?
I didn't hated it.
But you were there for a while.
I hated it. But I didn't hate it. I just hated it. You know what I mean?
Any place that has too many people.
It wasn't the people, it's the type of people. It's the quality of the person. So here, here feels like home. And everybody says this, whether they're from here or not. When people come to Detroit, they feel like they came to visit family. I learned that even when through the inaugural Blackout Walls Festival, that people coming and traveling up, like, I didn't know what to expect, because of course they only show the blight pictures of Detroit. Either the blight or the white pictures of Detroit. There is no in between. That's what is marketed about Detroit, but not the actuality of Detroit, which is the love here, the black love here, lives here. The black strut is here, the black confidence. We so confident in ourselves, we don't really celebrate celebrities like that. They're not icons to us. They're not idols to us. You know what I'm saying? If you go to LA, you'll see, hey girl, you'll see 1,000 Nipsey Hussle paintings. You'll see 1,000 Kobe Bryant paintings. The first Isaiah Thomas painting is the one I did last year. Like, we just don't idolize people like that, because we all famous. We really are. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is somebody, and we all act accordingly, and nobody cares. You know what I mean? Like, everybody is famous and nobody cares.
What prompted you to get a master's degree?
I was teaching and I wanted to make more money, and I used it exactly for 1 year.
What age group did you teach, and what did you teach?
So while out in LA, I did 2 jobs. I was doing Ghost Star for television. I was working for Lincoln Heights. It was on ABC Family. One of the main characters was a prodigal artist, so all of her artwork, actually Chadwick Boseman started on that show too. Shameless plug. But yeah, I was doing the artwork for all the guest characters and the main character that came on.
And doing the artwork means you were...
You know how every time, like if you see a movie or show and a character is an artist, and if the actor is acting, they really look like they're doing it. They're not doing it. It's somebody like me behind the scenes. I didn't even know that was a job until I got the job. That's the thing about most art jobs. You don't know that they're things until you know it's a thing. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like every step of my career outside of the advertising, I was literally me learning something different. You know what I mean? From even the mural painting. I didn't know that was a whole career. I didn't know, but also it's access. We only have access to certain things, because now in this post George Floyd world, everybody's getting hired to do whatever, you know what I'm saying? But also in Detroit, we create our own way anyway. We'll create a project. We'll make a gallery. This gallery doesn't want to show my work, which is another thing in New York that I hated. Like, you just have to go to galleries and hope that you meet the right person and hope they're interested and even want to know you. It's too much. Whereas here, we make our own way. You know what I mean? And that's also what was a turnoff from the LA too. Like, here, we make our own way. Like, we don't have the ocean. We do have beautiful lakes, but nobody's just coming to move here because of we have flat land. We don't have all these hills. So we create our own landscape. So that's the beauty of, that's the why I came back home, and why I stay home. But yeah, I did those things in LA. I taught high school because I was tricked.
How were you tricked into teaching high school?
Because the person who hired me told me, he really had me convinced that I could build a program that was going to be like Cass's, to filter out the art kids, to get them to art colleges and stuff. But that's not how any public school system works, because it is a system. All y'all, I hate to tell you, I'm not a mother, but all y'all kids is a dollar bill. That's all it is. It's dollars and cents in a chair, unfortunately, and hopefully you have teachers that for real care. But Yeah, it wasn't for that. Yeah. I did do some very cool things though. I took a group of kids to Europe. The first time I went to Europe, I took a group of kids to Europe.
Oh, wow. Where did you take them?
I took them to Rome, Florence, and Paris
To see the art.
to see all of the art.
How long
We
were,
were gone like 9 days.
okay.
You're right. What's wrong with me? I don't understand.
And do you keep in contact with any of
A
those?
few of them.
And are they working in art?
A couple of them, yes, but a lot of them, no. Because also, my art kids that I took to Europe were like competing valedictorians, salutatorians. I had all the brainiac kids too, so it could really go either way.
Now, you do mentor a lot of artists. Do you mentor them under a collective, or is it just something that you do?
Some that I
And how did you come up with that, or what made you want to?
people bother me, and I say, okay, come on.
Now, you care about the
Oh
development
no, of course I care, but that's how it is. They come to me like, okay, come on, I'll teach you if you're willing to learn. Oh, I'll teach all day. So I'll say this. While I only technically use that degree, because it's a secondary, it's a master's in secondary art education, 1 year, I got that raised for 1 year, which meant nothing because it was in Los Angeles. So I still do kind of actively use it in my mentorship practice.
Okay.
And I can't say it's my head mentee, but my first true mentee just had a show has a show up right now at Cranbrook Museum. No art degree, no bachelor's, but a whole museum show. That's my baby.
Congratulations to Backpack. Get to see their show if you can. You spoke a little bit about blackout walls.
I did.
How did you come up with that concept, and what is blackout walls?
So Blackout Walls is a all black lead mural festival. We came up with it, and when I say we, it was myself, Max Sansing out of Chicago, an artist out of Chicago, and Thomas Detour Evans, who's based out of Denver. Once I started painting murals, and I did my first mural of note, 2015, Murals in the Market here in Detroit. Out of 50 artists, 25 local, 25 out of state, out of country, as far as New Zealand, Australia, there were only 5 to 6 black participants. And I was only one of 2 out of the city of Detroit. So Murals in the Market lasted, I think, 5 years. And I was like a token for that festival for like 4 straight years. And even, and after that
Can we
first,
pause? What made you a token?
I was the only black one all the time. Like I was a repeat. Just the fact that I was a repeat made me a token. Cause it's supposed to circulate. You know what I mean? It's supposed to grow. It's supposed to, I had you last year and I'm gonna go, you know what I'm saying? But also, it shouldn't be any tokens here because this is a black ass city, right? I also did like a tour, if you will. Like I would get invited to paint at different mural festivals. Powwow Hawaii was the first. Powwow Hawaii, Powwow Long Beach, Powwow Worcester, and I was always either the only black woman for sure, or one of very few black people participating. So back in 2019, I was at Crush Walls out in Denver. And it was Max there, and Thomas lives there. And there might have been a couple other Negroes sprinkled around. But we had a conversation like, oh, it's so great to see you. At least it's more than one of us here at one time, da 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 da. We should do our own. I just need an idea. I just need that one little poke. And I'm already in action. Because soon as, we had the conversation, they were, they men's. So they was talking about, oh yeah, we could come back here and do a retreat and we could talk about it. I came back here and I paid somebody to write a proposal to have it done. And so, of course, 2020 was what it was, but we had our inaugural festival in the North End. And you can see, actually, that's one of the pieces, if you look outside, that's one of the artists who was a drop-in artist. Yeah, so if you travel up and down East Grand Boulevard or down Oakland and even a little bit into the neighborhood, you'll see the Blackout Walls murals. So, yeah, that took I think, a year and a half to get together, or really 8 months once I started raising money and stuff.
And are you still raising money for,
2023, yes.
And-
So Black on Walls is biannual, so it's not yearly. It's yearly somewhere, but it's biannual to Detroit. This year, with the funds didn't come in correctly, because tech money is like, they were downsizing in some departments and stuff, so some of our funds didn't come through, because it was supposed to be in Oakland, California this year. But I was happy to cancel it because it wasn't happening smoothly. And sometimes it's okay to just let it go. But we are full-fledged 2020. We're ready for 2023.
in Oakland?
Detroit,
Oh,
Michigan.
Detroit. So when do you go back to Oakland?
Listen, it might not even happen, baby girl. That's a memory. Eventually,
Okay.
but it's not, it ain't urgent.
So you're wearing yourself. What collection is this? From what
So
season?
actually, this is something, just a teaser. Where's Giselle? Did they leave?
They did.
Okay, so I didn't wear my shoe, but this is what adorns the shoe. This is what I designed for the shoe for my Vans partnership. So I'm trying to sell them a collection, so I wanted to get the ball rolling, so I made my own stuff.
Can we talk about the shoe collection with Vans and how that came apart?
Oh, post George Floyd, pandering.
All that, those opportunities that opened
Yes,
up.
listen, I don't give a damn if a company is pandering. That is none of my business. As long as your check clear, it's none of my business. I just got to make sure I do what I do with my work, right? So your intentions might be, oh, we need to hire a black guy, right? And I might be that black guy that you called, but I'm going to deliver, and I'm going to over deliver. And what I'm going to make it so goddamn black, you might have regretted it.
And you're working on a shoe collection?
Not a shoe. I'm trying to work on a collection.
Oh, a whole collection,
Yeah.
excuse me. Okay.
It could be Vans, it could be Adidas, it could be Nike, it could be whoever's coming.
Okay. So we know you as a mural or muralist. What else do you create?
Everything. Chaos.
Can you describe everything?
Colorful chaos.
Can you tell me why, or tell everyone why you're not selling work tonight?
So what I'm working on now is I'm working on the museum show pieces. Yes. And so going back to my experience with the New York thing. So when I first walked into the studio that they assigned to me, it was on a very steep third floor, no elevator access. And although my sizes were throughout the entire proposal for me to even get the residency, they gave me the smallest studio in the building. I didn't even have a real window. So I dealt with that for 2 weeks. Like when I walked in, I kind of had a panic attack. And I made a decision too. I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna buy a building. I closed on the building on Wednesday. Because we gotta make our own space. That's the reality. Like, so if New York did nothing, it just pushed me further in we need to create our own realm of things. And not even just space. We need to create safe space. And so that's really what I'm striving to do. With the Blackout Walls, I'm trying to give other artists opportunities, because we had artists here that might be like really, really high in their cities, but they've never been invited out to in these mural circuits and not like most of these mural organizers, they're not necessarily artists for real. So they go to like the popular people all the time. So but this platform has kind of elevated their careers. Like they all have worked on large stuff. So I think it's a little bit of the post George Floyd plus a little bit of the Blackout Walls. But every little bit counts, you know what I mean? Because we need to stay working, we need to stay visual and active in these streets. And to do that, we have to make sure that the spaces are ours to control. And so that's really what I'm working on.
What's Grind?
So Grind is the girl raised in Detroit. It is my brands. When I first moved home, actually this is what I was doing. I was painting on clothes. I had a clothing line. Grind, it was, the name was given to me by my partner Lamar Landers. He was actually making grind t-shirts maybe even a couple years before I met him. We met like a couple months before I moved home in 2011. But was selling those shirts and had stopped, and he was always had in his mind, I'm gonna give it to a woman, like, so they can control the brand, da, da, da. So when he and I met, I was painting on clothes. I got my clothes in Flow Boutique and a couple other boutiques around the city, but I needed a name. I wanted a brand name. I mean, my name is okay, but you know, I really wanted a brand. He was like, oh, you can have Grind. Like, gave me the trademark, like full control over everything. So, and actually my show in vocab will be called Girl Raised in Detroit.
Love it. At what age did you realize you were an artist?
At 3 years old. I drew a picture of Gargamel. I copied it from a coloring book. I do tell this story often. My mom was in the kitchen cooking. I was proud of it because shit, I was surprised too. Like, dang, this looks just like this book. You know what I mean? So I took it in there and she didn't believe me. She thought I traced it. So she made me sit down next to her and redraw it in front of her. And the second one, I remember, it wasn't as good, but it was still good enough that she believed me. But yeah, 3 years old. So in kindergarten, you know how you get that art teacher, you might have an art class twice a week or something. I remember he was a black man. Can't remember his name, but I remember him pulling her aside, pulling my parents aside, like, hey, your daughter has a gift. When she gets of age, you want to get her into some real art classes. So I've been taking classes at CCS since I was 7. And I've been sneaking into like the older classes since I was like 9. You know, because, you know, in the kiddie classes, it's more crafty and stuff. It's not real teaching you how to draw or, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
You mentioned art school was really white and rigid. How did that make you feel as an artist? Did you feel like you were really coached to color within the lines, or did you have the creativity to really create within the guidelines given?
I was an illustration major. So we were taught to follow the guidelines anyway, not guidelines per se, but to be taking direction and like take somebody else's idea and bring it to light, right? So really and you get a check. That's really the difference between fine art and illustration anyway, is one is a guaranteed check and one is you have your own ideas and you hope somebody gives you a check. You know what I mean? But it's really the same, whatever your practice is, it's all in the realm of art. But yeah, but commercial art, you're kind of learning to take lessons anyway. But, you know, I never was a code switcher, if you're asking.
That's not what I was asking. Just wanted to hear
That's
more
not part of
about
my lexicon.
your experience and how it shaped you as an artist.
It probably made me go harder. You know what I'm saying? Because it was always, and this wasn't even just because of the institution of whiteness. The reality of the art world is it's more sexist than racist all day. So even when I got into the professional realm, when I was an art director, and I worked at a black agency, but it wasn't a safe space. You know what I mean? Like, other art directors would steal my work and claim it as their own. Like, I was overused, underpaid, because I could illustrate. Like, I knocked out 5 services that they were paying externally for. Storyboards, illustrations, plus design, you know what I'm saying? Photoshop and stuff. Like, I had all of these skills, but I was very much so abused. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a safe situation. It was hell, which is why I never went back. Like, I never even looked to go back. That's why I say, hated it, and I mean it. You know what I mean? Like, that's the devil's work.
Cindy and I met when I moved back at Germac.
Yep, 2013.
And then she created 2 murals in my studios in the West Village. So that's our connection. And working together with Cindy is such a joyous experience.
Doesn't this feel like joy?
So you have this plan, and Sydney's like, I don't do that. I don't use words. I was like, Sydney, we need to make it diverse. I don't paint people that aren't black. Sydney, it needs to be a representation of the neighborhood. Do you want me to paint a mural or not? So that turned into 2 murals, and I am fortunate to be in several of her works, including one in Denver with my green locks. So it's been a beautiful.
Do you know, here's the thing about mural painting too. Every mural I paint is gonna be somebody asking me, is this a self-portrait? And I remember while painting that, it was this older white couple that kept passing me. They asked me, was it me the first time they passed? I said, no. A, she looks nothing like me, but I even showed them a picture of what I was painting. They came back like maybe 30 minutes later after we had this conversation, and they told me like, yeah, we heard you. We know you said this wasn't you, but we decided
That you were painting yourself.
that I was painting myself. It even happened inside of my residency. So I paint this young lady, her name is Johnny. She's a beautiful chocolate woman. We literally look nothing alike. Nothing. I was proud of this piece. The director of the space was the only one in the office. She really wasn't my homegirl. I was, you know, you always gotta have office homegirls wherever you're at. My homegirls wasn't in there, but I'm like, you know what? I'm so proud of this piece. I need to show somebody. So I brought this petite white woman to my studio, and I showed this very chocolate woman. You know what she said to me? You know, if you add freckles, this will be a self-portrait. And that's like, when you just gotta smile it, you like smile it off or say something snarky, that's the shit that really makes me even more mad at myself, because I really want to explode. But I just says, I was like, yeah, sure, you know, if I become 4 shades darker and have curly hair, not locks and da-da-da-da-da. But me having to be snarky is what really pisses me off, because I can't even give you what you deserve. You know what I mean? Which is a real tongue lashing. Yes.
With that said, we're going to open it up to questions. So does anybody have a question? And I can bring the microphone to you. No question?
I guess I gave a mouthful.
Okay, perfect. Oh, we got 2. I'm going to go to the first hand, I'll come second hand.
So Sydney, I've been a fan of your work for years now.
Thank you.
So how's it been like fundraising in the art space? Like how has it been like before you became Sydney that you are now? How was it in the early years?
Honestly, the first time I ever had to do it was with the Malice Green mural. So that was literally my first time. So if I take that experience, I'm like, it's easy. But for bigger things, for bigger chunks of money, it's been a little bit more difficult, but that's where relationships come in. Like if I can't do it, you just call the people who can. Call the people who got money or who look like they got money, and they can figure it out and help you. You gotta call the Aminas, the Nate Wallaces. You know what I mean?
Hi, Sydney. Thank you for your transparency and authenticity. I actually chose the office in this building because of your mural, so I'm a huge fan of yours.
Thank you.
I'm an attorney for intellectual property. How important, I heard you mention trademarks. How important do you think it is for artists to protect their works through copyright or trademarks? I see it.
Well, first and foremost, artists, if there's any artists in the audience, you have automatic copyright. Now you have stronger copyright if it's registered with the government, but you have automatic copyright with your work. Even vandals have copyright over their work. Like say somebody did some graffiti, say on that wall across the street, and Mercedes-Benz wants to shoot an ad in front of that wall, in front of that wall. Now, the artist could come forward to sue. And potentially win. But they also would have to probably deal with charges. So, for the vandalism. But it's extremely important because you can make money off of artwork without ever selling a physical painting. You know what I mean? Like even with the shoe, it's a license deal. It's not, they don't own that. It's still my image. I own it. They had a limited run to use it or a limited time to use it. And I think that's actually really important. And I think the more artists who know about copyright and actually utilize it, you know, and I think we're learning. I think it's expanding. That knowledge is expanding. You know, the sky is the limit. You can make textiles. You can make anything, like, and literally keep your painting. One guy, his name is Kevin Williams. His artist name is Whack. He's the one. Do you know the beauty salon painting with the 3 women under the dryer? He is the one who created this print game, you know, this open-ended print game. Like he started in 1989, and because he's from Chicago, because galleries weren't really messing with black artists, he went to beauty shops and barbershops, and he started selling prints throughout like hair shows and stuff. So he created, and he doesn't sell any paintings. He keeps all of his paintings in a trust for his children, and he sells nothing but prints and giclées. And that's how he made a hell of a career. And he opened these doors for everybody else. So it's very important.
Hi. Hi, I'm Florinda. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So I noticed that this doesn't want me to be great. So I'm just going to speak louder. So I noticed that Amina was very intentional, thank you, about introducing you as an international Detroit artist. And I understand why that word choice was used. And I wonder if you and other Detroit artists feel like you're getting the love that you're due. Because I see so many great things come from this city. I'm from this city. I went to Cass, all the things.
Come on, 1997, baby.
And so recognizing that it's important for us to claim our excellence here, are you feeling like that tide is turning both here in Detroit, recognizing our own, as well as all around?
I think Detroit is the standard. Even when I was out in New York, right, there's so tunnel vision there. They would ask me stuff like, oh, so what's the art scene in Detroit like? What do you mean? How do you not know? Sheepy McFly had a whole ass skating rink. Phil Simpson had the basketball court next door. And we in galleries. And we in museums. Judy Bowman retired as a teacher. She has our exhibit at Mohair right now. She's collected by the DIA. She is on her way, her pieces are on her way to Miami Basel right now. Rashawn Rucker is showing at least 3 or 4 venues around this country right now. Detroit is the standard. Once the door opens, all we need is we just need to bust it open. And I feel like Detroit art scene is busting it open. Like seriously, and creating lanes, creating shit that didn't even exist before. Like, because like I was saying to Amina earlier, we create opportunities here that are not given to us. And I feel like that's the spirit of the city. Like if we don't get it, we gonna take it, or we gonna make it. Either way it goes, it's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? And that's the beautiful thing about this city. Like, we are the standard. We are the city that made the world move, literally and figuratively, but you know, literally, you know. So yeah, we the standard.
Are there any other oh.
Just yell.
I'm already super monotone, so.
Just come up here, dude.
All right, I'll try to yell. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, it works for me.
It only like you, Amina.
I think on the topic of, you know, excellence, and us having to be excellent, I think about imposter syndrome, and I think about what it's like for us to be in different spaces and try to maintain that confidence. When did you know that you were good? Or when did you decide that you were good?
I was 3 years old. Even at 5. 5, even in kindergarten, even in elementary school. I remember my assistant principal used to pull me and like 2 other boys out of class just to draw stuff for her. I was always, and then I'm competitive too. I want to be the best. And I feel like girls and young women get discouraged, or back then, because I see a lot of women artists now coming up, got discouraged away from their talents, or like got pushed to do cute things, like paint flowers, do buds, you know, shit like that. I was never interested, but I wanted to paint so aggressively and be so good that you couldn't tell what I was. And so I'm not saying I'm the best, but I am saying I'm not the worst. But I always strive to be the best. Like, I'm competitive. Even in like it's no real competition, but even in a mural festival setting, my goal is always to be the top 5 of somebody's favorite list. You know what I'm saying? I gotta be top 5. But yeah, I was young. Yeah.
Any other questions? I'm right here.
Hi, Amina.
Hey, friend.
When is the museum show?
I don't have the exact date, but I know it'll be the first week of April 2023. It will be the Woodward Gallery in the MoCAD. I will be, and this is shameful to say, it's kind of cringy to say, I'll be the first Black woman to have a solo exhibit in that gallery, which is weird. But still, like Faith Ringgold from here, Gilda Snowden from here, you know what I'm saying? Shirley Woodson Reed, like we got so many legends. Okay, you're right, I'm not surprised.
We got anybody else? Oh, coming to the back. I got you.
She like her.
Hey, City was good.
What's good?
My name is Prism. I'm an artist in the city. I was wondering, kind of 2 questions. For one, in terms of expanding beyond the city, what would you say are some of the best practices you use in terms of broadening your opportunities and networking?
I was up until last summer, and I cried in my car for 30 minutes when I had to let it go. I was a baggage handler for Delta Airlines. You fly free, you can create your own opportunities. And actually, that's what I did to get into like the first powwow. Like I was one of the organizers who's painting here for Murals in the Market, because we hustle, we have to hustle. Things are never given to us. That's the reality of things. So one of the organizers of powwow was here painting for Murals in the Market, and my boy was like, hey, you know that he do the powwow. I was like, okay. So we were at lunch with him, and I was like, hey, if I get myself out to Hawaii, will you put me on the roster? He was like, are you serious? I was like, yeah, because that ain't shit. It's a free flight. You know what I mean? He was like, okay. And then he hit me up a month later, and he asked me, was I serious? I said it, right? You know what I mean? So he put me on the Hawaii roster, and it just so happens that year they were having a retreat for all of the directors of all the powwows around the country. So, and the only other Black person, because I don't know if it's a Detroit Black thing to do or it's a Black thing to do. We always gonna find other Black people. And that's not just Black people. I think everybody does that. They want to find some familiarity, something that feels like home, something that feels comfortable, whatever. The only other Black person there was the director of Powwow Wooster, a young Black man named Che Anderson. And he was also the most fun. So I hung out with the directors more than I hung out with the other artists, because it was already kind of cliquey. You know what I'm saying? And they do kind of real drugs in these art scenes, and I don't do real drugs like that. So, you know, and I got invited to the other 2 powwows, to Long Beach and a Worcester. You hustle. So, and that's a perfect way to hustle. It's a perfect way to vacation. You get the best seats available. Listen, I miss it.
And for the second question, in terms of being a businesswoman and an artist,
You're not here.
how do you find the balance between
You're not here.
keeping your own creative passion alive while turning it into a business at the same time?
It's one and the same for me. Which is why, even when she was telling you how it was to work with me as a client, Listen, my work is my work. If you hire me to do my work. And I just, you gotta trust me to make my work for you. And that's what it is. That's to build a career. And it wasn't always like this. This is definitely years of development, whatever. But that's really the goal. That's really what success is really kind of creating your own practice and being solid in it and being happy with it. And also being okay with walking away when something ain't working good for you. But get that deposit first. That's right.
Other questions? All right, friends. Well, the Q&A version of this Artist Talk has come to an end. Thank you again, Chroma. If you need co-working space, please consider Chroma. Stephanie is still here, and so is her card. So if you like this community space and you want to book an event, please reach out to Stephanie of Chroma and come by for a tour so you can tour the ninth floor for your next event. Thank you to my FJC friends that are here. So appreciative of your support. We will be having some events, so be sure to introduce yourself to the FJC friends that are here. Thank you again, Sydney. Thank you, Urge Drews. Can't talk tonight. Thank you, Lala and Sarat. Don't forget to tip your bartender and drink some more. We're here until 8, so let's hang out, take some pictures, and connect with all of these incredible people here. Thank you for being here.